Assalamu alaikum waro matalo'i wa barakata. Welcome to Bulid Hausa Loan Channel that discusses building a house without bank debt, without usury dot for the safety of the world and the hereafter. Default Texas, the largest Muslim community in the world. Many Indonesians are more interested in buying a house without usury, with the Sharia mortgage system, apart from being in accordance with Islamic teachings. This method is also considered more profitable than conventional mortgages. In a conventional bank house purchase scheme, you will often hear about interest rates. In short, the interest rate itself is the reward for borrowing money charged by banks to their debtors. The amount of interest rates themselves vary, depending on the provisions of the government and the bank concerned. However, it is undeniable that interest rates are a burdensome factor for people in paying off mortgages, plus the existence of interest which is considered contrary to Islamic law. For those of you who are Muslim, it's a good idea to buy a house without usury. Here are some ways and tips for buying a house with cash that you must know. Buy a house in cash. The most effective way to buy a house without usury is to buy it in cash. This method is sure to keep you away from practices and potential usury. Buying a house with cash looks more profitable because some developers often give gifts to those who buy with hard cash. The next way to buy a house without usury is to apply for installments directly to Sharia property developers. Some Sharia property developers also accept direct installments without bank intermediaries, with tenors of only 1 to 5 years. However, you also need to be aware of the Sharia housing fraud mode that is currently rife. Therefore, you should check the legality of the developer first before deciding to buy a Sharia or conventional house. Applying for a home ownership credit KPR to an Islamic banking institution is also an option for how to own a home without usury. In contrast to mortgages from conventional banks, Islamic bank mortgages apply a credit system that is in accordance with Islamic law. Therefore, applying for Sharia mortgages is considered an effective way of usury-free home loans. Negotiation with home sellers. The last way to own a house without usury is to negotiate directly with the seller. This method is quite effective, but it can only be done if you buy a second home, because if you buy a new house through a developer, the price is difficult to negotiate. Unlike buying a second home with an individual seller, usually you can still negotiate prices, and you can even apply for a house purchase using the installment method. If the seller is willing to let go of the house with an installment payment scheme, carry out the buying and selling process of the house before notary to make it safer. If the need to buy a house is very urgent. Apply for a loan without usury from relatives or family to buy a house. In the process, you will buy a house in cash from the developer through borrowed money from relatives or family.